Welcome back to the Photobooth Podcast. I'm Nicole, owner of Own the Mama Booth and Own Your Mama Co. And I have a very, very special guest today. I am with Selah Brooks. Hi, Selah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
I am so excited to chat with you. So Amber actually had the opportunity to connect with you on Instagram. You guys did an Instagram live together a couple months ago, right?
In February. I think.
Yeah, so she kind of introduced you and talked with you. So in this episode, I want to kind of dive deeper and share your story with people who maybe never heard of you, never met you. So let's start off with who you are, what photo booths do you own, and a little bit of your background.
Okay. So before we get started, I just wanted to say this, and I'm pretty sure you heard it a lot, but you meant so much to me on my photo booth journey. Like the videos that you put out, like your content, you've helped me like save myself from a bunch of mistakes. So like the success that I've been able to have, a lot of people think it's magical or like, no, dude, I sit my butt down and I've been watching tons of your content. Kat, Amber, you guys put a lot of stuff out there for people that start in the photo booth business or just in the industry in general. And we learn so much from it, and then we can apply it. And so like, even though that I'm kind of new, like I've been doing this for a year and 8 months. When I go to events, you can't tell that I've been doing this for a year and 8 months because I consume so much of your knowledge. So you just meant a lot to me. So I know people have told you, but I wanted you to hear from me.
Selah, thank you so much. It's so kind.
So back to it. I'm Selah, and I run Phenomenal Photo Booth Company. And so again, I've been doing this for a year and 8 months. I'm in Northwest Indiana, so I'm about like an hour and 30 minutes from Chicago. I have a salsa booth. That's my baby. I love my booth. Yeah, so I run a salsa booth, and it's been a journey and it's been an experience, and I just can't wait to dive in and talk about it.
That's awesome. So a year and 8 months, that's amazing. And you decided to start off with salsa from the jump. So how did you get there? How did you land there?
Okay, so basically I was in marketing sales, right? So a few months after I graduated high school, I started working for a marketing company. And I was young and I did not know anything about marketing. So it was really hard, but I just stuck with it and I became really good at what I did. And my 5th year in, I'm be honest, Nicole, the company wouldn't treat me right. So I was like, listen, like I don't want to keep making money for other people because and I was commission based too. So that's really hard, right? And so my 3rd year working for that company, we ended up hitting like $1 million in sales, right? And so like I was the only salesperson working there. So I'm like, man, I'm really working hard. And so like I don't want to say I was 100%, but as the only sales guy, I most definitely was like 80, right? So like I was thinking as a sales guy, when you're going out, like I have to hunt for the leads and find the deals and bring that deal back to the company, and then I get paid a small commission, right? That's how commission works. So I was like, I don't want to do that anymore, right? If I'm a lion and I'm going hunting, if I hunt the gazelle, kill the gazelle, bring it back to the village, why should I get the leg? I'm doing most of the work. And so I'm like, I wanted to figure out a way to do it for myself. So a few months before I ended up leaving that job, I was looking for other things to get into where I can turn it into a business and just work for myself. And so along that time, I ended up taking a gig as a DJ. I was shadowing, and I was what I call a digit, which is DJ and training.
Yeah, that's cool.
I wasn't a good DJ. I sucked. I was horrible at being a DJ. It wasn't my thing. But at certain points, like I would go to a wedding, and this is where I actually like discovered the salsa. I did this mix and I tore it up. I'm at the dance floor, stopped dancing, and the DJ, like, he was there. He's like, "Hey man, go check on the photo booth. Get out of the screen." Right? And so I went and I looked at the photo booth, and it was a salsa. And at certain parts of this party, it was more people using a photo booth than there were dancing. Wow. And I was like, being a DJ is hard. Like I got a newfound respect for DJs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you make or break the party. It's a lot of pressure, and you
So
really
true.
have to be good at it. And I was like, man, why don't I just get whatever this is and I'll just rent it out to people? I just had the idea. I didn't know photo booth industry was a thing or whatever. And so after I got done tearing up my debut of being a DJ, I went home and I started like doing research on the salsa, and I just dove into content. So I found Amber on social media, and I fell in love with Amber. Like she was the reason I actually bought it. I'm like, man, she's so cool. Like I just want to be her friend so bad. And so I discovered the salsa, and then I purchased it. So when I left my job, I was like, I need an exit plan. So I'm making good money. I need this money to do something for me before I quit. And as soon as the Salsa Photo Booth came to my doorstep, I left. Right, I was like, "Hey, I'm gone. I'm done, guys." So I left that, and then I went to another marketing company. And my plan was to, be there for a while and slowly build up my photo booth business, and just ride off in the sunset, girl. I'm talking about just living it up, right? But I ended up getting laid off 6 months after I started, and I went broke. I'm like, I had zeros in every account because I was waiting around for people to call me back, and they just never did. And I was like, man, you got to make some moves. You can either, be homeless or you can go rent this photo booth. And so, like, that's really what got me into doing it the way I was, and kind of where you seen that growth come from. Because I didn't have a choice. It was, rent this booth or don't have a place to stay. So it was an easy decision. It was
Yeah.
easy to say. No brainer.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I'm super similar story, right? Like I just went full in. I had a kid to provide for. I was like, this is it. I got to do this full force
Right.
or this is it. Like there's just no
Yeah,
other
yeah.
option.
There's no other option.
There's something special about being against that wall that way. Like it
Yeah.
brings such a fire, and it's make or break at that point. And I think that's so special, especially when you harness it and take that and use that for fuel.
Right. And so part of my journey, like I remember I was sitting in my car and I was going, I had like rent was $0 in my rent account, zero in bills, zero in groceries. And I'm like, man, you got to make a decision. Like you can't wait for people to call you back. Right. And so when I was sitting there, I just realized I was like, man, you don't have any other choice. And it's like a universal law. Like you can't create something from nothing. And so since I'm doing nothing, I'm getting nothing. And that's just not a choice. So like you're right. So I just harnessed it and I just picked up the phone. I'm calling people, hey, I got this booth. You want a booth? Because I didn't have any gas money. So I had to generate leads from calling people. And then when I would get a booking from calling, I'm like, oh, I got money. I got gas money. Now I need to go to networking events, and it just led from there. But like people didn't know what I was going through. But when you going through something like that, like you said, when you're back against the wall like that, you always operating at a different level than people come.
Yep. Woo.
So,
man, that was so good.
Yeah.
I'm clipping that for sure. No, that's incredible. So where did you find the phone numbers? Like, how did you decide who you were going to make those first phone calls to?
Well, you got to start off what they call your circle of influence, right? So since I know certain people or, over the years, whether it's friends or people that I've networked with in the beginning, like when I started marketing sales, I kind of had somewhat of a base to work with. But it wasn't much, right? Because everybody might not have something going on. So I would call, and even if I'm calling a stranger, I'm not getting off the phone unless I got another lead. Like, hey, you might not need this. Who else do you know? And so I wasn't taking no for an answer. You're gonna give me a name. I need 3 names. Give me 3 people. And when you do that and you operate like that, you're gonna get what you need. And it's like the law of averages, right? The certain amount of times you do something or you do something long enough, you're going to get the results. So, I just started off with the small group of people that I knew, and then asked them if they knew anybody else. And then also social media. Like I had nothing but time. I'm sitting there on my computer, like a little crazy person, and I'm just talking to people, joining Facebook groups, and I'm just emailing them or, putting it into the chat like, hey, I see you got this event coming up. You need a photo booth. Offered free events, and from free events, I'm going in with the mentality. I'm not just doing this event and going home. Like I need more leads, so I'm working the event. I'm talking to everybody. Anybody is like, "Oh man, your booth is really nice," and I'm telling them like, "Yeah, I got laid off. You got an event. I need some money, right?" And people they they're like, "Oh man, we'll most definitely book you, most definitely support you." So like, I'm very thankful for the people that helped me out in the beginning, because I just picked up my phone and recorded everything. Just got tons of content, and when I'm going to show people, if I'm reaching out, I'll just say, "Hey, this is an event that I just did. I would love to do the same for you," and then just kind of go from there.
I love that so much. So I want to talk about content because we're going to dive deeper into your vlog series. But before we get there, the type of content that you were making, can you talk about that? Because that is something that a lot of people have a really hard time with, like what kind of content to make. And can you talk about what was working for you?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing was working for me. And so, and I'm gonna be honest. When I will look around when I first started at Photobooth content, we all, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking it, but we all dropped the same what I call event recap videos. You show people using your booth, you put some music behind it, because we want to capture that experience that people are having using our booth, and that's what we sell. We're not selling the booth, we're selling the experience, right? But it gets stale. Like me myself, I got bored of editing the videos. I'm like, man, I need something different, right? And so when my reels was not working, but I would show people like things that I recorded from my phone, natural, like unedited videos, and they would see that, and I would attach that to any email or any Facebook message that I was sending out, or it would be a custom screen. They would like, hey, that looks really nice. That's a beautiful custom screen. Thank you. You want one, right? Like that's kind of where I was getting to. So certain things just didn't work, but the content that I was pushing out, I was attaching it, because when you tell people you have a photo booth, there's so many out there. They really don't know what you're talking about. You're the only person that know your booth and your capabilities, so you need to showcase that a little bit. So I would just attach something to those, like to the people that I was contacting, and then that will be my hook. Like, you want this? I got it for you if you want it.
Yeah.
And I would just go from there pretty much.
If you were to rate any of your marketing kind of and sales strategies, whether it be phone calls, emails, social media, what would you say has been the most successful for you?
I would say networking, and not like I do get success on calls, but you got to call tons of people.
Yeah.
And you got to call them more than one time, right? And sometimes that can be really strange. Like, since I have experience in talking to people over the phone, I'm not a weirdo about it. You know what I mean? So I got personality. It kind of finds its way, but it takes a lot of time. When you're doing social media, that takes a lot of time, and you also have to do it with so much intent and purpose to get a lead from that, right? And so for me, like, a straight line is the quickest way to get anywhere, right? So I'm like, what is that for me? Like, what does that look like? And for everybody, business, that's different. But for me, it was networking and talking to people, because I used to have this saying, like, I know my own information, right? Like, so these business cards sitting in my pocket don't do me any good. I know my email, I know my phone number. I need other people to have that. So again, when you're working with your back against the wall, like I was when I would go to networking events, I would take a fat stack of cards, and I would be the first person there, and I'm giving it to any of the staff working the event, but I'm not leaving it to every card is home. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want any of why would I want to keep my own phone number? I already know
Yeah.
it, right? And so that's the mentality and mindset that I was operating with. But that became my source of marketing myself, because I'm making a connection with people. And I think a big, I guess, misconception is that you have to have business experience to sales experience to start this, and you don't. Mine helps me, but it's not the reason I was able to have build certain relationships or have certain success. It was my ability to connect with people. And you don't need sales to do that. There's customer service reps that I've met on my journey that give customer service, and they run a great photo business. Because when you have the intention of talking to people and understanding what they're saying and building, like, you care about them, what their problem is, it's always a conversation within a conversation. But if you're not listening to what they're saying, you're gonna miss the opportunity to get a booking. You have to understand to talk to that person, peel back the layers, and really get to the nitty gritty of what that person's problem is, and then you can have success there. And people know it. Like, we all have our radars, right? Like, that wasn't authentic. That wasn't a real conversation. People want real conversation. They want to know that you really care about them, really want to understand their situation. So that's the mindset, and that's just became like my main source of leads, just networking, talking to people, and just making it sincere, like being yourself, like whoever you are. You're gonna have people that gravitate towards you, and then you just work with your crowd. Certain people are not gonna like it. It ain't for you. Cool, that's fine. But the people that I'm rocking with, like, they're supporting me. I'm getting multiple bookings, and people think that you always have to go find new leads, and that's why we put out so many reels or whatever. And they'll teach you in sales, like, the best seller to get is the one you already got. You can have repeat business. You can have repeat business. I'd rather do business with this person 5 times than try to find new leads, and go through that experience. So, like, that's been my main source of, like, my leads and, like, my marketing is just networking and talking to people.
Incredible. That's amazing. No, yeah, and referrals, and those are
Right?
golden.
Absolutely.
If you can get someone in your circle and then have them coming back again, like you said, that's gold.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
ideal.
And
Yeah.
I'm honestly, like, I would say, like, are you really operating your business right if you don't have repeat customers? You see what I'm saying? Are you really, it doesn't even have to be photo booths. Like, are you really running a great business if you don't have people coming back? And you would think like, and that's kind of what I would tell people that I was working with in marketing, like certain businesses. They would say, "Hey man, I need new leads every day." I'm like, "Well, why don't you just take care of the ones you got?" Like, you can get new leads, but that means that you're not taking care of people. So you have to start running marketing and all these ads to get new people because you ain't treating them right. Like, let's take care of the babies we got and let's build those relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. I One of the kind of questions that I see a lot is that gap between getting the photo booth and getting business.
Yeah.
What was that time frame for you from when you
Mhm.
got your photo booth to when you got your first work job? And then did
Mhm.
it steamroll from there, or how long did it take for you to like get that pay off your first salsa?
Right. So I want to say it paid for itself in 3 months. But I tell people all the time, don't compare situations. I was laid off. I didn't have a job. I had nothing but time to run my business. So I should pay it off in 3 months if that's what I'm doing all the time. Like, from the time I wake up to the time I close my eyes, it was photo booth, photo booth, photo booth, right? So, if you guys aren't seeing success, or your version of success in 3 months is perfectly fine. But it took me 3 months to pay it off. Once I got the booth and I did a free event, um, I got a booking right away. But it wasn't because, like, I was just all that amazing. It's a process. It's a formula. Like, you have to talk to people. And on my last video that I did with Amber, I was telling her, like, I don't want to be the prom king. I just need a ticket to the dance, right? But once I get in there, girl, I'm gonna act a fool. I'm talking to everybody. You know what I mean? Because if you're that kid that just sits in the corner, right? Since you're given nothing, you get nothing. And when your booth is as at an event, there really ain't a lot of things for people to do. You're gonna dance or use the photo booth, so you become the star of the show, and you have to operate like you got to pay $1 million to you, right? When I was free, and I know that I do need rent money, but I know that I don't have content or I don't have the experience, right? I need a free event, but they don't know how much I got paid to be there, so I'm gonna operate and run that event like I got paid $1 million, and that was my mindset. But that also takes you to how you engage in conversation with people, your enthusiasm about bringing people over to your booth. Because believe it or not, even though it's photo booths everywhere, the salsas, I see salsas everywhere. Certain people haven't experienced the photo booth. How dare you rob that person? You better get their butt over there and show them why this is such a great thing, because you never know who's going to use your booth. And since I provided that experience for people, I got my first event. I got like 4 bookings. You know, you got to work them. You got to remind people and everything. But I got first bookings from my first review.
Yeah. Man, I'm hearing that you definitely took a lot of your past experience in sales and marketing into this business. Would you say like that's super essential, or do you feel like that's something people can learn?
You can learn it. Like,
Yeah.
when I started marketing, I sucked. Like, I was 19. I'm over here talking to a business owner who's probably like, mid 30s, early 40s. This seen probably, if you've been doing business for 20 years, you've seen 20 years worth of salespeople. I'm getting prejudged before I walked in the door. They're like, what can this young whippersnapper tell me about my business, right? And you learn. But the thing is, it's not like, forget the word sales experience. You could throw that in the garbage. Like, it's not really about tactics or tricks. How do you connect with people? Can you have a conversation? That is the biggest thing that helps me, because like I'm pretty much like I'm an open book. I'm keeping 100 with you all day long, right? And so people, they feel that, and when I'm having a conversation, it's not like a business to business. It's almost like I've known this person for my whole life. Now it can be a gift. Like, I truly believe like that's a gift. Um, and so I'm really operating within that. But my sales experience wasn't why I was able to accomplish what I was able to accomplish. It's like being able to connect with people, like talking to them and understanding them and building a relationship. And it's not like, oh, hey, how you doing? Like, none of that. Like, when people aren't talking to me, I'm sending them stuff. Hey, man, I was thinking about you because I really am. I thought you would like this video. This is funny as hell. I think you would like this. Right. And people, they start to see you as a friend. Right. And be a friend. Like, it really has to mean something. And it's really how you treat people. Right. Like, you can be the CEO, but I'm going to treat the CEO the same way I treat your janitor. I'm going to treat your janitor the same way I treat the CEO. And people like you for that. And the more people that can gravitate towards you, they're going to do business with you. They just need the opportunities, right? They want to pay you. People that like you want to give you money. It's just about the timing of things. So that's why you keep those relationships strong, because when it's time to happen, it'll happen.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, if you're going to a networking event, I'm thinking of the person maybe that's nervous about going to a networking event, nervous about like being in a crowd of people and like putting themselves out there. Do you have
Right.
any like questions that you have in your back pocket of like, this is what I always ask, or this is how I introduce myself, or
No, because you don't want to seem robotic.
yeah.
People can know when it's not natural. I would tell people I'm nervous. Like, you don't be afraid to tell, hey, I'm new to this. I'm nervous. I don't know any of these people. And somebody's going to see that and they're going to be like, man, me too. Or they're going to say, hey, that's okay. Come with me. I'll introduce you to people. And I'll tell you what, and this is why it's so important to, like I said, be yourself, right? Is because when I first started, like I said, I was 19. I remember my first networking event. I gave this guy my business card and he told me that he has more established people to talk to, right? So at that time I was new. It made me feel this big. But I was like, it's okay, because I have a saying that says that goes like, time shows all things. When you go into a networking event with the mentality of, I'm just going to meet people, I don't care if it's weird, I don't care if it's awkward. You really have to build up that thick skin and the tolerance of what other people think about you. You just have to, you just don't care. Like, I got to a certain point where I was like, man, if they like me, they like me, and if they don't, they don't. It ain't, because they ain't paying my bills. I'm like, I would like people to like me, but if you don't, I'm not gonna like go in a corner and cry about it, right? So you have to kind of work on your self-respect, self-esteem, your confidence, because really that could be an issue too. But when you just stop caring, you just, that's your best self, because you're being yourself. It's not like it comes with a consequence. Like, I told this one person I was networking with, it's kind of like if you're a music artist, right? You got to make music. That's your passion. You love making music. Are you going to stop making music because people tell you they don't like your song? Absolutely not. You keep making music, because the people that do like your song, they're going to come to all your shows. You're going to sign autographs. They're going to love you for it. So, I just go in the room, I do my own thing, but you have to build up a tolerance, and you also have to work on your confidence. Like, and the way you work on confidence is just stop caring what people think, because that's really what people are afraid of. So I just go in there like, hey, it is what it is. This is me. Accept it. Don't accept it. I'm just gonna play my music.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about now, you've been on this journey of going
Hmm.
from one photo booth to two photo booths, and you
Right.
decided to create a vlog series on your
Hmm.
Instagram. And if
Yeah.
anyone listening or watching, you haven't checked it out, please go do that. It's really, really cool. And I love how you kind of peeled back the curtain and are showing people the true, authentic, like behind the scenes look of what it looks like to not only be an owner, but to also
Right.
scale your business.
Hmm.
So tell me, how'd you come up with this idea,
Right.
and just chat through that whole experience.
Absolutely. All right. So I told myself, like, after I was laid off and I was renting out my booth, like just hustling out there and grinding, and I was able to get myself out of that financial situation just from one photo booth. I was like, man, you know how cool it would have been if you would have just recorded that whole situation. Because a lot of the times we're like, as business owners in general, not just photo booth, like, we're looking for content, but we think that our content has to be like spectacular, like the best thing anybody's ever seen. You got to have verbal hooks and visual hooks. And that's hard. That's really, really hard. And it's time consuming. Right. So I told myself, if I ever go through another obstacle with my business or like in life, I'm just going to pull out my phone and record everything. Right. Because people can see that. And it'd have been cool. Like, if you'd have seen like my journey from being laid off to rent my photo booth because I got no choice. Man, being laid off, I feel like that's a good verbal hook. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to do that again, but I needed the opportunity. In my very first vlog, you will see that, I start off by saying I lost $2,500. And so that happened in a week. And even though I don't do photo booths full time, this is a big old chunk of my income, right? And so that is an issue. Like $2,500, that could do a lot for my household. So I was like, okay, well, I need this as a sign that I need another booth, because the more events that I go to, the more people that I talk to, the more people um that I'm connecting with, they're going to want to reach out to me. And you don't want that money going someplace else, because that's really what's happening. When people are reaching out to you and you can't book them, like, you lost the money. So I started off just vlogging it. I lost $2,500, and then I just picked up my phone and recorded everything. And then I think it was really important to showcase that, like, my second video, I'm taking 40% out of all my deposits, right? Which I think is important because a lot of content that you will see, like for the photo booth industry, it is say, you buy a photo booth, you rent it out for $500 this many times a week, and it's this much money a month, which is true. But you don't see how hard it is to do those steps, right? And so that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it. Another thing was I wanted different content. Like I wanted to try to separate myself from all the other content that's out there and just be myself. I enjoyed doing it. And I was like, I'm just gonna make it. And I promised Amber from the first time we talked that I was gonna try to work on being a face of my business. Like as you see, I got personality, I'm funny, whatever. But when I'm behind the camera, like recording myself, I become strange. Like Nicole, I'm so weird. Like I'm like, man, I don't even want to be friends with me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be my own friend. And like when I go back and watch my videos, like my voiceovers, it's so cringy. But I was like, I'm gonna just put it out there because this is what I want to do for myself. So I'm like, whatever people say, if they roasted me in the comments, whatever.
Who cares?
So I just wanted to, show that experience and show the real side of like what it's like to run a photo booth business. I get tons of questions in DMs like, oh, it must be so easy. And it's funny. It's so hilarious to me. Like, man, only if you knew. But I'm like, okay, well, why don't I show? Like, I would show. I think it's such a beautiful thing because me putting myself out there like that, I've got messages from people that don't own photo booths. I got messages from people that own photo booths that were like just starting out, or people that was doing it for years, and they were saying like, "Bro, you're inspiring me. You're motivating me. Like, I'm glad that I've got a chance to see this." And the craziest thing about that is these people from all over the place. I got people from New Zealand and Los Angeles, local people saying, "Woo, yeah, man, you can do it." And I love that because that's why social media is so powerful because you reach people that you would never talk to. Right. And I think that's what's so cool also about like the photo booth industry in general. Like we're more community over competition. And people that has a photo booth too want to see you do good, which is great. I've worked with people in marketing where it's like, hey, my competitor's around the corner. We need to crush them, It's not like that. Everybody is like cheering me on and stuff. You get support from different people. So it was a really, really great journey. And it was fun. I love doing my vlogs. It was amazing.
That's awesome. So spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched it, the most recent one, right? You were able to get that second photo booth. So you were able to raise enough money to get the second photo booth. So is your plan to hire people, hire attendants? Like what is your plan for growth and scaling now?
Right. So I do wanna hire people, but there's some things that I gotta do before that. Like I really want to work on my brand for my business. And then also hiring good help is as anybody know with employees, it's not easy. And so I have to find the right crew around me before I hire out because when they have that logo on their shirt, they're gonna reflect your business. So
100%.
what the plan is to hire people. I'm so tired, Nicole. I'm big sleepy. Like when you go to, I'm pretty sure you know this out of all people. Like when you go into the event, you're at the event. That's time. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I need if I could duplicate myself. I know I don't have any hair technically, but like if I could pull a hair and like like clone like 3 Selahs, man, I'll be a millionaire. I'll be like Gru with the Minions.
Yeah. That's hilarious. No, it's so true. I'll say too, when I knew what I had to hire, it was like back against the wall. I knew I'm getting a lot of inquiries. I'm not able to personally be at all of these events.
Right.
It's a huge sacrifice, right? Like mentally, physically, emotionally, it affects your family. And then I also knew it was like, oh my gosh, what if I got sick? Like, what if, like, what if I broke an arm, like, then I have all of these people who I've promised something and then I'm going to fail that. Like that dread was living over my head. So it's like, okay, regardless of if I don't know if people can actually like replicate and represent my business, everything I've worked so hard for, I knew I had to figure something out.
Right.
And so it's possible. I will say, like, I just did an event. I had 3 of my team there, and they're all a group of college girls, and they're incredibly, like, I say college girls, but they're like all in their PhD programs. They're all like almost doctors. Like they're incredible. But I watched them literally represent my business better than me. And I literally like drove home crying because I'm like, I never thought that was possible, that people could care so much about the business like I do. And so I want to encourage you, because I had those same thoughts and fears. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm blood, sweat, and tears in my business, like 24 hours a day. That's all I think about, right? So there's no possible way anyone else can do it. And that's partly true. But there are people out there that, if they can attach to your vision. And I think that's important too. Like, if you have to have a strong vision and be a leader of your business and lead the way, and they'll follow. Like, if you've got good people, you can, and you have got a good vision, I think people can attach to that and follow that. And I want to encourage you, it is totally possible. And it takes
great advice.
It takes time, right? It takes time and effort, and also like courage. It takes courage for you to step out and be like, okay, I'm going to believe in you. I'm going to trust in you to not mess this up for me. So it's definitely possible. But I also want to talk about Photobooth Supply Co.'s success team, because you've mentioned that in other conversations and how that's been impactful for you. And that's also like so helpful for you when you grow a team too. They also can call and say, hey, I'm at an event, I need help. So can you talk about your experience with that?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the play by play. So
Give it.
when I got laid off from my job, like I said, I had the salsa and I had paid for the membership, but I didn't have no money. So I literally was getting emails saying, hey, like, pay your salsa payment, right? Like your bill. And then I got this email from Noreen, and she wanted to set up a coaching call. But I was nervous the whole time because I thought she was going to say, hey, you need to pay your bill. You know, like, yeah. Don't I'm like, I ain't alone. Let's not sit up here and act like we ain't got no bills that got to be paid, right? I ain't the one. So we went through this call. Not one time did she even mention it. I was a nerve wreck, right? And so I'm talking to her, and I'm like, listen, at the end of the call, she was telling me about my website and doing different things to get events. And so, like, at the end of that call, she's like, listen, like, I know you got laid off. I believe in you. You can do it. You can call me as many times as you need. We'll set up these calls, and I will help you every step of the way. And it clicked. I'm like, man, this whole time I've been sitting here, like, thinking I'm in this alone, all by myself, and I have no clue what I'm doing. Like, if you don't have knowledge of building a business, you're not gonna know what you're doing. But what's so special about like having that success team is because they have experience in talking to photo booth owners and about the photo booth industry specifically. Like, I can't go ask friends for help on advice, even if I got buddies in business, they can't give me photo booth knowledge. Like one of my guys that I talked to, he real cool. He a roofer, don't know nothing about photo booth, don't even take pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so valuable. So every time I called it an action plan, and it's important when you have these calls. Sure, if you need some mental support, they got you. You know what I mean? But have like on these calls, I would go in and I would have a plan. Like, hey, I want to talk about X, Y, and Z because you got to respect their time too. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be efficient. I have my questions planned. I'll get on that call. We'll go through these things, and then I'll make an action plan of things I need to do after that call, right? And then I'll say, all right, Noreen, big homie, I'm gonna work on these things, and I'm gonna call you back. And so a month go by, I check off all the boxes. So each time we on this call, we making progress. And so you actually see, like, in my vlogs, one of the things that was like super pivotal for me and impactful was things got really slow. I'm cold calling, networking. I'm talking about, girl, I'm working every, like if it was an orange, I'm squeezing every ounce of that orange, every drop, but I'm not getting calls. And like, that's hard for me because I said, like, my photo booth business is a majority of my income, right? And so I'm like, sometimes you have to understand that sometimes you got to get out of your own way, right? You need somebody that's outside of your business to look at your business because you're so into it that you might not even know what you're doing is affecting you in a negative way. So I called Noreen and we were talking about, she was like, well, how much marketing are you doing? That's a great question. None. Zero. Right? And she's like, hey, maybe you need to start working on your social media posts. Like, some of this stuff is not active. You're really lacking on that end. But for me, I was just so busy on the sales. I wasn't focusing on marketing. And it's really important for people to understand that two different things. Right. And so once that she told me that, I swear it was like the big bang off in my head. Like, wow, oh my gosh, right? And so I made this Facebook post, and then on my personal page, this is what I'm doing, guys. I got this photo booth, and sometimes it's important for you to tell people. Don't be scared. Tell people what you're doing. You gotta have enthusiasm for business. I got a booking for $2,000. one Facebook post after I got off the car in the ring. I made one post. I got $2,000. And then while I was at that event, I got 2 bookings, and that 2 bookings added up to $1,000. So I made $3,000 from one Facebook post, and
Wow.
that's in that vlog. I showed that, and I think that's why I was saying like the vlog is so important, because it's easy to say, "Hey guys, I got $600 from this booking. Photo booths are great," but I'm showing you I did this, that led to this, that led to that $600.
Yeah.
Some of these videos, Nicole, like I was showing you, like I undercharged. I got paid for $500 for one event, right? And it was man, it was like 750 people there. And
Wow.
just for $500 at first, I was mad. I'm like, man, they got me, right? Because you let people, you have to run your business. But she was like, we're a little tight on the budget. I'm like, okay, pulling on my heartstrings. But I did it. But again, I'm showing they don't know how much you got paid to be there, so I'm showing up like I made $1,000,000 for that event. And then I had a venue, like people that I worked at a venue. I didn't know that at the time, but they emailed me saying, we love your setup, you love your professionalism. We want you to be a preferred vendor, because you never know who's going to use your booth. So, like at the end of the day, like all this stuff really came from these coaching calls that I'm doing with Noreen, because she's helping me put myself in position to be successful. And she's not in my, she don't work for me. It's not like I'm paying her. So I think everybody should be doing it. Like at a certain point, like if you want to grow your business, you don't know how to call these people, man, you better get on the call. Like, it's so vital. It's truly important. It really is.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories. We've tried it for a long time, and I wish we could talk longer. But
It's all good. It's all good.
it's been so insightful to hear not only your journey, but
Mhm.
also like how you've overcome just the trials and errors of business and sales and marketing and all of that stuff. And I'm I'm so excited for your journey and where you're going. So before we leave, I
Okay.
want people to hear from you. Where do you see your photo booth business in the next 2 years, 5 years? Like, what are your big goals?
So can I start off with like what I got in the pipeline right now, like next? Okay, so right now I'm working on a new website, because again, like I said, I want to work on my branding. So I'm working on the site. I'm doing photo shoots. I have a promo video coming, and so those are all huge projects. That's kind of like I'm putting a lot of attention into. Once I do that and I kind of establish my brand, then I want to start hiring people to run the booths. And then after that, I can free up some time to do more promoting and selling for my business. And then at that point, I want to just keep hammering it, and just trying to grow. And I think in the next 5 years, I want to be, I will be the biggest, best photo booth company in Northwest Indiana.
I
So
love that. You heard it here first.
oh, absolutely. Look, we got receipts, people. This is the receipt. It's a video
Yeah,
receipt.
there
Yeah.
you go. I love it. So if people have questions and want to connect with you, where can they find you?
So on Instagram, it's Phenom Photo Booth. Phenom Photo Booth on TikTok. Pretty much all my social media is Phenom Photo Booth. Or you can email me at info@phenomphotoBooth.com. And we can talk, we can chat, build some friendships, build relationships. So I've
Yeah,
pretty much been doing that the whole time I've been vlogging. So I'm used to talking to people, guys.
I love
I got
it. That's perfect. And I'll also include too, we have a free guide download called How to Start a Photo Booth Business. And it walks you through that whole entire process. So if you're listening and you're curious, like, man, Selah's convinced me I want to start a photo booth business, there's a free guide that will take you through that whole process. And just as a reminder, again, like you have an entire customer success team that is dedicated to your success. So if you are listening to this and you want help and you are an owner of a Photo Booth Supply Co product, we have help for you. Like, don't do
Right.
this alone.
And a lot of people can't say that. A lot of other
Yeah,
photo companies can't say it. And it's so important. Like it's
so important.
Noreen, me and her like this. That's like I'm telling you, for my like if I'm having a big party, I'm inviting Noreen.
Ah, I love that.
Let's say I open up a location. I have a ribbon cutting. I'm gonna send. You could come too. I don't want to leave you out. You could come.
Well,
You
I
and
appreciate
Noreen.
it.
Bring the whole team. Everybody can come. Everybody's
Love
invited.
it. Love it. Well, thank you again so much for your time. This has been an incredible conversation. I know I've taken stuff out from this conversation, and I'm sure so many people will too. So thank you again so much for your time, and I'm sure we will chat later.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.